Sister Nancy created a song that conquered the entire world, yet for 32 long years, she lived without receiving a single penny for her massive creation. Her real name is Offlyn Russell, and she is the legendary voice behind Bam Bam, a track that is universally recognized as the most heavily sampled reggae song in the entire history of the music industry. If you have ever watched blockbuster movies, listened to global hip-hop icons, or even just turned on the radio over the last 3 decades, you have heard her voice. But while her voice was traveling across continents, generating millions of dollars and building the careers of other artists, the woman who actually wrote and performed the song was working a regular desk job at a bank in New Jersey, trying to make ends meet to support her family. This is not just a story about the music business. This is a story about deep exploitation, decades of silent frustration, the harsh reality of how artists are treated, and ultimately, a powerful fight for justice that took a lifetime to achieve. To truly understand how this massive injustice happened, we have to go back to the beginning, to the streets of Kingston, Jamaica, in the late 1970s and early 1980s. During this time, the Jamaican music scene was exploding with creativity. The sound system culture was the heartbeat of the island. Massive speakers were stacked high in the streets, and DJs, who were locally known as toasters, would grab the microphone and chant or rap over instrumental reggae beats. It was a fiercely competitive environment, and it was entirely dominated by men. Women were rarely seen on the microphone. They were expected to be singers in the background, not the commanding voices leading the dancey hall. But Offlyn Russell was different. Growing up in a large family, her older brother was a famous DJ named Brigadier Jerry. She watched him perform, she absorbed the energy of the crowds, and she knew exactly what she wanted to do. She wanted to perform, she wanted to toast, and she wanted to prove that a woman could control a crowd just as well as any man. When she first started out, people did not take her seriously. They told her that the dancing hall was no place for a young woman. But she possessed a unique style, a sharp voice, and an incredible ability to freestyle lyrics on the spot. She took the stage name Sister Nancy, and slowly but surely she began to make a name for herself in the local Jamaican scene. She became the first female dancing hall DJ to truly break through the barrier, paving the way for generations of women who would follow her. Her talent caught the attention of Winston Riley, a highly influential Jamaican music producer who ran a record label called Techniques Records. Riley saw the raw potential in this young, energetic woman and decided to bring her into the recording studio to make an album. The year was 1982. Sister Nancy was just a teenager, full of passion but completely unaware of how the music business actually worked. When she stepped into the legendary Channel 1 studio, there was no grand plan. There were no lawyers, no contracts, and no discussions about royalties or publishing rights. That simply was not how things were done in the Jamaican music industry at the time. Producers held all the power. They owned the recording equipment, they owned the instrumental beats, and they controlled the distribution. The standard practice was to pay an artist a small, flat fee up front to record their vocals. Once the recording was done, the producer owned the song completely. The artist walked away with a little bit of cash in their pocket, and the producer kept everything else forever. During these recording sessions, Winston Riley played an instrumental track known as the Stalag 17 rhythm. It was a heavy, infectious bass line that was already popular in Jamaica. Sister Nancy stepped up to the microphone, listened to the beat, and began to freestyle. She did not have anything written down on paper. The lyrics came directly from her head and her heart. She chanted about her skills, her confidence, and her ambition. In that single, unscripted moment, she created Bam Bam. The song was catchy, it was confident, and it was completely unique. It was included on her debut album titled 1-2, which was released later that same year. When the album came out, Bam Bam was a hit in Jamaica. It played on the local radio stations and in the dancing halls. Sister Nancy enjoyed the local fame. She performed around the island and felt proud of what she had accomplished. But she did not become rich. She had been paid a small session fee by Winston Riley, and that was the end of the financial transaction. She did not know what publishing meant. She did not know what mechanical royalties were. She was just a young artist happy to hear her voice out in the world. As the years went by, the local popularity of the song began to fade, as all songs eventually do. Sister Nancy continued to perform for a while, but the money in the Jamaican music scene was not enough to build a stable, long-term life. By the mid-1990s, Sister Nancy realized that she needed to make a change. The music industry was not paying her bills and she wanted a better, more secure future for her family. In 1996, she made the difficult decision to leave Jamaica and migrate to the United States. She settled in New Jersey and completely stepped away from the music industry. She decided to focus on building a normal, quiet life. She found a job working as an accountant at a bank. She woke up early, commuted to work, sat at a desk all day, and went home. She was no longer Sister Nancy, the pioneering dancey hall queen. She was Offlyn Russell, a hard-working bank employee living a quiet life in America. She believed her music career was a thing of the past, a fond memory from her youth. But while Offlyn Russell was sitting at a desk in New Jersey looking at spreadsheets, Sister Nancy's voice was preparing to take over the entire globe. Without her knowledge, the song Bam Bam had started to spread outside of Jamaica. It had become an underground anthem. And then the sampling began. In the music industry, sampling is when an artist takes a piece of an existing song and uses it in a brand new song. If you do this legally, you are supposed to get permission from the original creators and pay them a share of the profits. But because Winston Riley controlled the rights to the original recording, nobody ever looked for Sister Nancy. The explosion happened in 1998. The highly influential movie Belly, directed by Hype Williams and starring major hip-hop artists, featured Bam Bam prominently in a pivotal, unforgettable scene. The song perfectly captured the gritty, intense atmosphere of the film. Suddenly, millions of Americans were hearing her voice. That same year, the legendary artist Lauryn Hill released her groundbreaking album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which would go on to win multiple Grammy Awards and sell tens of millions of copies worldwide. On that album, the song Lost Ones heavily sampled the iconic chorus of Bam Bam. Sister Nancy's voice was now embedded in one of the most successful and critically acclaimed albums in music history. But it did not stop there. Over the next decade, the song was sampled again and again by the biggest names in the entertainment industry. Kanye West sampled her heavily on his controversial and massively successful track Famous. Jay-Z, one of the richest and most powerful musicians in the world, flew to Jamaica and created a song literally called Bam, built entirely around her original vocal hook. Major international brands started using the song in their massive television commercial campaigns. Video games included the track in their virtual radio stations. Bam Bam was no longer just a reggae song, it was a global cultural phenomenon. It was recognized everywhere. Imagine the profound psychological impact of this situation. Picture yourself waking up at 6 in the morning in the freezing New Jersey winter to go work at a bank. You get in your car, you turn on the radio, and you hear your own voice singing back to you on a multi-platinum hip-hop track. You go home, turn on the television, and hear your voice selling a product to millions of viewers.